Hey everybody, Sam here and welcome back to Samcraft. Welcome to the next part of the Building My New Workshop series. In part 1, we did all the foundation work. If you haven't seen that, there's a link to it down below. In today's video, we're going to be building on top of the foundation we laid, and we're going to be putting our new floor down. Let's go. We are ready to go ahead and start framing up the floor of this building. For framing, I'm using treated 2x6 lumber. About 12 footers, they're going to get cut down to 11 foot 9 inches to give me 12 feet overall once the rim joists or band joists are put in place. What I'm going to do now is cut them all to length here, right where they are, where they got dropped off by the truck, because it's easier to cut them here, and once they're done, take them over, and they're at final length over there on the workshop base. It's just going to be easier, so that's what we're going to do now, cutting 16 of them at 11 foot 9 inches. I have all of the floor joists cut to their length, and I have them roughly spaced out, just placed out here on the skids. I'm going to talk about a couple of things as we frame up this floor and we do all of our attachments and stuff. I'm using 2x6s for this floor structure, which should be plenty strong enough for my intended uses. A lot of times storage buildings will be framed out of 2x4s, and that's not enough. In my book, for this kind of a workshop, you want something beefier than 2x4s. Now for storage, or something that you're not really going to be in much, and it's not 12 feet wide, I guess 2x4s will be okay, but I would say at the minimum they should be 12 inch on center. Since I'm using 2x6s, I'm going to space these out 16 inches on center, which is perfectly fine. I have plenty of support below them since I did 4 skids. The maximum span on that 2x6 is around 3 feet 2 inches, so that's plenty fine. For what I'll be doing, it's not going to be any problem. It's plenty strong enough, and it shouldn't be bouncy, because I don't like bouncy floors. What I'm doing next is going through every single floor joist and looking for the crown of the board. What the crown of the board is you want to see if it's kind of like a rainbow. You want the rainbows facing up, and the reason you want that is over time, as the weight pushes on that joist, it'll make it flatter and it will not be saggy. If it looks like an upside down rainbow or a smiley face, you go to attach your floor, it's only going to get worse over time. So you always want to make sure you do your crowns to the top, or your rainbows or frowny faces, however you want to think about it. That's what you want to do with your floor joists. And so while this looks like kind of a weird step or something that, I don't know, going to make a big difference over time, yes, it will. As the lumber dries and moves and just ages, it will make a big difference. With our crowns done and marked, I marked a little C on the top of all of them in case we move them, they fall over. We know which one's which. We now start fastening things together. For that, I'm going to be using my Paslode Cordless Framing Nailer. I have our little battery charged up. This goes in here on this side, because this thing does use electricity as far as igniting the cylinder, but for the main boom factor, it uses these gas cylinders. So it's pretty much like a single cylinder gas engine in here that literally pumps air, fuel in. When you pull the trigger, it sparks, ignites, and blows a plunger down and shoots a nail in your material. To load the cylinder, pull this back, drop your fuel in, that goes down, and you're done. All right, let's go ahead and load this thing up with nails and start framing this floor together. That's going to be as simple as grabbing one end of this ledger board, band board, rim joist, I forget what I'm calling it, but that board, and then I'll walk and work my way down from here over, lining the joists up with my marks and shooting 3 to 4 nails in a piece. As for nails, we're using hot dip galvanized 3-inch long ring shank nails.
Seriously.
As you can see, we've got a couple of sheets of plywood here. I'm using plywood as giant squares. I know they're rectangles, but like framing mathematical square to make sure the corners of the floor are 90 degrees and the edges are perpendicular. I don't know, square. I'm gonna fiddle around with this a little bit longer. It's just a hair bit off, but basically what I'm doing is kind of shimmying the frame around till everything matches and all the sides and edges are correct with the plywood. Because plywood is 90-degree corners, so it works great for giant squares. Off camera, Elijah came over and I was like, hey, let's go ahead and see if we can tweak this thing a little bit better. We got out the larger tape measure, we measured from corner to corner, measured diagonals, and we got the whole flooring squared up. So it's correct. Measured from corner to corner, it's dead on. Now, I will go through and make sure my joists are spaced correctly, mark on the skid with some pencil line in case I bump them or the kids bump them and they move. And then I'm gonna go back with the nail gun and I will toe nail, which means going in at an angle, all of the joists to the skid. They'll get probably 4 nails a piece at every single joint. So we'll do that. Should have enough daylight for that, but we'll keep working and work until dark because that's what I do. Welcome to the next day. It is early in the morning and I'm ready to start working on this thing again. I have a sledgehammer and a piece of wood. Why? Because last night as I was looking at a couple of pictures that I took to show friends and family of look what I did, I noticed some of the blocks were not exactly perfectly aligned like I liked. So I want to take the time to just kind of nudge them over, make them pretty, and then we'll continue building. I know at this point is the best time because it's only going to get heavier from here. So yes, Sam's OCD is kicking in, but I'm going to tweak some of these blocks, make sure they look pretty, and then we'll go ahead with doing the floor framing next.
You mean covering it all up, what you're doing?
Yeah. We'll spend some time doing some work, and then we'll cover that up.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I'm serious. It's just me being super picky. Okay, that's acceptable. We can now move on to the next level. We are ready to go ahead and put the plywood decking now. For comparison, these are the 3-inch nails that I use for the framing, and these are the 2 3/8 nails I'm going to be using for the plywood decking. I'm going to be using my Paslode nail gun for the rest of this plywood as well. This tool is so handy, especially out here where we're kind of running off grid. Well, no, we really are running off grid. We have solar panels and stuff. I don't have an air compressor, don't have air hose to deal with. It's really nice to have the Paslode gun to use for all of this stuff. These are 2 3/8 nails. They are galvanized ring shank as well. You don't necessarily have to have galvanized ring shank nails for flooring in this application, but since this will be exposed to the elements, since this is going to be a workshop, that's what I'm doing. So that's why Sam went and got galvanized instead of the non-galvanized regular nails. Alright, I'm going to load up my Paslode nailer. We're going to go over there and we're going to start nailing down the plywood to build the official floor. Well, that was a lot of work. It was a very long day's worth of work. However, was great to have done. It was great to have the family out there. As you noticed, I have my helpers helping me, and they're always helpful. That's why they're helpers. And it's just kind of the fun time out there on the property, getting to show my boys a little bit of construction, getting their help, and having fun building what will be the new shop. The floor is framed out on a 16-inch on centers with 2x6 treated wood. That stuff is awesome. It's not going to go anywhere. It is toe-nailed with about a bajillion ring shank galvanized nails into the skids, so it is all overall rock solid. I used plywood for the decking, which in the end I really liked. I didn't have any worries about the tongue and groove gaps for expansion joints, and it was a perfect fit and is a very rock solid, good, secure base. Well guys, that's going to be it for the flooring video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments about it, leave them for me down below. Otherwise, if you're interested in this build project, be sure to subscribe. Click that notification bell so you know when the next one comes out, which will be very soon. And take care, and I'll see you guys next time in the workshop. Or out there in the field again, building the workshop.